Hi, friends. It's so good to be back. It's been an interesting time, needless to say, I think for all of us. Um, I'm speaking for myself. I know that this coronavirus situation is really intense. Um, and I'm also noticing that it's kind of beautiful. I'm seeing a mix of lots of different things. I am going to make another video about my connection with the corona and a stage 4 cancer. Stay tuned for that. But today I am here to talk about, I'm going to share a very vulnerable experience that I had the other night in hopes that it can help people navigate feelings of panic, feelings of hopelessness when you go down that super dark hole, which I feel we can do in this time with this coronavirus, as well as just having a stage 4. We can go down that hole anytime, or really any cancer. So I've shared in previous videos about my cannabis. So I take a high dose every night. I'm on a maintenance dose now. And that cannabis dose I take 25 milligrams of THC and 75 of CBD every single night as my maintenance. Generally, it doesn't really affect me as I fall asleep before it does. But the other night I had really been having, it was the first night I let myself really look into what was happening with this pandemic, and I let myself, usually I don't go on the internet. Not that I don't go on the internet. I don't read news. I don't let all the negativity come in. So the other night I decided that I should probably get, on board and make sure that I'm being safe enough. And a lot came up for me. So I was having a hard time falling asleep, and then this cannabis dose kicked in. And at that high dose for me, it can get me pretty anxious. I haven't been anxious from it in a really long time, but it makes sense that with all that's going on and what I've been reading. So I started going to sleep and noticed my thoughts are still really racing, and I started going into some really dark spaces. And it was kind of like, all right, what's the worst thing that can happen? And that's where I started going. So I've learned that it is a good place for me to actually just let myself have fear in this container of my cannabis and the anxiety it gives me at night sometimes. So I've learned to really navigate it over the years. And some of the tips that work for me are reminding myself that it's okay, that I'm letting myself have these feelings, I'm letting them out, I'm processing them, and knowing that, hey, tomorrow I'm going to feel better. And whether or not you're taking cannabis and getting anxious from that, we can remind ourselves, because I'll say, Carrie, you're just tripping, you're just high, it's fine, just these are the feelings you're supposed to feel right now. But if you're not feeling, if you're not on cannabis and you're feeling this way, you can just remind myself, hey, it's okay to feel this way, and they're going to pass. I will feel better tomorrow. We have all been in dark, dark, dark spaces. I'm guessing if you're watching this and you've had a diagnosis, or somebody you know has, you know what that feels like to go into that dark space. And yet today you're watching this video, and maybe today you feel amazing. So we know that these feelings will pass. I was using all the tools. I've had so much therapy. I've done so many workshops. I've done so many things that I was using every tool. So basically I'm laying there, my heart starts beating really, really fast. And then my cannabis also gives me the chills once it hits me, and it's so strong. So my mind starts racing, and I'm like, wow, I think I have the virus. This was where my mind went. And I'm like, I have the virus. what am I supposed to do right now? I'm not educated, but I'm too high to like actually get up and figure something out. And I'm laying there, and then I'm telling myself, Carrie, you know you don't have the virus. It's okay. And so I would go back and forth with, I was laughing at myself basically, because I knew I was playing mind games with myself using my tools, but also the reality of how I was feeling. So it was okay. I'm just like, this is fine, Carrie. It's going to be okay. You don't really have the virus. But then a minute or two would go by and I'm shivering. And then I'm like, well, wait, no, I have a fever. I must have a fever. And then I'm like, how am I going to tell somebody? I can't even move. And so like, then I start going into this despair. So then my heart keeps racing. I finally, I'm like, okay, Carrie, do some breathing exercises. So great techniques for calming down. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And a lot of times when we're stressed and we are having a hard time breathing, using counting. So there's a million different count for a in breath of 4, hold for 2, out breath of 4. You can do breathe in to 8, breathe out to 7, breathe in to 7, breathe out to 6. Like you can just, the idea is that you're doing things you have to think about, so you stay focused on the breathing. I could barely do it for 2 seconds, and I'm just going back down this thing, and I'm like, wow, Carrie, like this is a lot. You're really going through it. So I'm just telling myself this, and this whole time I'm completely freaking out. But I kept being conscious enough to be like, Carrie, this is okay. And then I started really praying, and I believe in God. I believe in spirit. I don't necessarily believe in the God like Bible, like I'm gonna see Jesus's face come or anything like that. But I was just praying, and I was like, hey, protect me and help me out right now. And it was insane. I felt this feeling come inside my body, and I was like, oh my God, it's God. You're inside of me. This is amazing. And then I was like, wow, I must be really in a bad place that God came to visit me. And I've never had that kind of experience. And it brought me some peace. And it was interesting because I was just like, wow, okay, what's even happening? And then I noticed I started going into this kind of post-apocalyptic scare place. And I was like, wow, what's going to happen? All these people are dying. People are going to start looting. We're going to be stuck in our houses. It's going to be like a zombie apocalypse. What's going to happen to my health? Like I went to the darkest place of what could potentially happen. I don't believe we're going there, but this is where I was at. And I started saying, hey, it's okay that you have fear, because this is really scary and this is new, Carrie. So let's let the fear out. So then I was breathing, and I was picturing as God came into me, fear was breathing out of me. And I just like kept playing with this kind of mindset. And this went on for an hour and a half, guys. Like this was scary. I'm going to tell you, I've never been that scared. It was horrific. I kept going, and then I was laughing because I would go in and out of like knowing what was happening and not believe. And then what I realized was I said, Carrie, your throat does not hurt. You do not have the coronavirus. You are going to be okay. This is a way that you're processing your fears right now, and it's okay. But you've got to slow down your breathing, get your heart calm, and just know that it's going to be okay. And so I just went through reminding myself that I was tripping, reminding myself I was going to feel better tomorrow, using tools that I practice all the time, my breathing techniques, my visualizations of my body being healthy, praying, and then releasing fear and letting myself, like I kept telling myself, it's okay to feel fear right now. This is okay. And you're not going to feel it forever. So it finally, I was like, this is like ayahuasca, or like having a full therapeutic mushroom or acid journey. I haven't had any of those before, but I was like, I'm guessing that's what this is like. And that's when I kind of started calming down a little, and I was like, hey, this is okay. This is a normal experience that all these feelings would be coming out. And in the end, when I felt the safety of feeling connected to spirit, and that it's like, oh, okay, wait, I feel that inside of me, and it was tripping me out. But then also I was like, breathe out the fear. I was like, you're really doing good work. I kept saying, you're doing good work, Carrie. You're really acknowledging fear that you still have, and you're letting it all out. So this is good. I just kept telling myself, this is good. And then I was just like, picturing the fear going out of me. And I was like, this doesn't serve me. I let it come into my field, but now it's not serving me. And I just kept breathing it out, and it was wild. I felt my body just wash over with this calmness. My heart calmed down. I recognized I didn't have a sore throat, and I just really talked myself down. And at the end, when I let the fear out completely, and I just kept saying, it's okay, you're letting the fear out, you're processing fear, you're doing great work, this is like breath work or anything else. And then I went to sleep, and then I woke up, and then I felt great. It was one of the most traumatic nights I've ever had. It was literally terrifying. I was also going through, like, I haven't put my house in a trust, and I don't have a will, and you know what, I'm gonna die in my sleep, and my kids are in the other room, and I mean, it was really, really scary. So I just want to share my techniques with you if you ever find yourself getting into a panic attack, going into that dark spiral. I'm going to encourage you to let yourself go there, and maybe like put a time limit on it. Like, hey, I'm going to let myself be in this scary space and go to all the darkest corners of your mind and body. And I'm going to let myself do that for 10 minutes, or I'm going to let myself do that for half an hour. I'm going to let myself do that once a week. Rather than suppress these feelings, we want to let them out. Remind yourself that you're going to feel better the next day or tomorrow. You know, you could reach out and call a friend, you know, call your doctor, you know, check in with one of your Facebook groups or your family members, and share your fears. Like I told my kids the next morning, and they were like, that sounds so scary. Why didn't you get us? And I was like, I couldn't move my body. I wanted my kids so bad just to come and be with me and let me know I wasn't dying and I didn't have the virus, and that I was going to be okay. But I went through it on my own, and I feel stronger for that. Reminding yourself, like, hey, I've got this. It's okay. And all my feelings are valid. Breathing techniques are really good time. But I think more than anything, just not suppressing those feelings, but letting them come out, letting yourself feel scared for a little while, but then knowing that, okay, now we're done. And it felt like a good release, a good process for me. So I hope that this helps somebody out there. Panic attacks and just getting, you know, scared about all this. It's important for us to let ourselves process and acknowledge them, and know that we're also going to be okay after. So thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. All of these things help these videos get into the hands of people who want to see them when they're searching. So please share widely. And if there are any tips that you have experienced that helped you, please leave them in the comments. I'm always looking for new things. And obviously I haven't mentioned everything. These are the things that I found really helpful for me the other night. And if you have any ideas for new videos, please let me know, and I will be sharing those. My next video will be on feeling discouraged. It's similar to this, but a little different. Nicole is a subscriber who is asked for my tips on once you're feeling discouraged, how to kind of pull yourself out of that. And that's a little bit more in a doctor space, so I'm going to share that one next. So take care, wishing you all well, stay safe, stay home. This will pass. We're going to all be okay, I promise. Mwah.